We're either gonna buy a house or get divorced.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lives on Reddit. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer.
This is a little long, but I just wanted to get this off my chest and say thank you to everyone in the sub for all your support. When my husband and I first got together, we were both fence sitters. Deep down, I knew I didn't want kids, but at the time, I didn't know I had a choice. I always felt like it was just this inevitable, terrible thing all women have to do eventually. So when we discussed it, I would simply say, maybe one kid someday. I knew my husband likely wanted them, but neither of us wanted them anytime soon, so it wasn't a priority topic. I figured worst case scenario, I'd only have to have one, and I just hoped it wouldn't destroy me when it happened. But a short time after we got married, I had a health issue that ultimately affected my ability to ever have a safe or normal pregnancy. To be honest, I was relieved. Even though my husband was bummed, we both agreed that if we wanted kids, we could adopt, and that was probably better for us anyway. But after I realized I didn't ever have to give birth, I started having serious doubts about having kids at all. I started seeing more articles about being child-free, met more child-free people, and eventually I found this sub. When it finally hit me that I had a choice, I decided that I wanted to be child-free. Around that time, I sat my husband down and told him my decision. We had a hard conversation, but at the end, he said he supported me. He said he still wasn't sure he wanted kids and he definitely didn't want them now, so he said he was okay being child-free too. I'll admit I was relieved, but truth be told, I didn't feel totally at ease. Then my husband's best friend had his first kid. His friend loves being a dad, and is one of those people who makes it look easy. To complicate it further, my husband fell madly in love with their little girl. He started talking about how excited he was to be an uncle and how he wanted to spend more time with them. I could tell he was starting to have doubts about being child-free, but I also knew he was romanticizing parenthood, especially since he didn't have to exist in the same space as a baby every day. I'd hope that the other parents he knew, who constantly told him not to have kids and how miserable they were, would deter him. And he kept reassuring me he was okay being child-free, but I was still worried. Flash forward to last week and my fears became reality. We've been in the process of buying our first house and we found our literal dream home right away. On the way back from our showing, we had to decide to put down an offer. So we were excitingly discussing the details when he went completely silent. Then he said the one phrase I was dreading most. I think I do want kids. He said he's been thinking about it a lot, and even though he still didn't want them now or even soon, he did want them eventually. I told him I wasn't going to change my mind. He said he understood and would never force me to have one, but he wasn't sure what to do. I said he needed to make a decision, because we were either going to buy a house or get divorced. It was a hard ride home. I told him he didn't need to decide that night, but that he really should think it through sooner rather than later. He said he set up an appointment the following week with his therapist to discuss it. And at that point, I just accepted my life would be in limbo. But I've heard enough stories from the sub to know how it ends, so I wasn't optimistic. Even though I wanted to give him my laundry list of reasons why I don't think he'd enjoy having kids or why having kids isn't everything it's cracked up to be, or even point him to the sub, I decided not to. The truth is, he would be a great dad, and it was always a point of guilt for me that I couldn't make him one. But more than anything, I just wanted him to be happy. He's truly the love of my life, and the last thing I wanted was for him to resent me. So even though I knew it would be incredibly painful to watch him go, I didn't want to be the person that killed his dreams. I left him alone to decide, but I was absolutely certain it was the end of our marriage. Later that night, I was sitting in our big chair in the living room with a box of Kleenex, trying my best not to have a complete mental breakdown about it, when he came in and told me he made his decision. He snuggled up in the chair as close to me as possible and just held me for what felt like an eternity. Then he said, "I'm choosing you." Needless to say, I cried a lot. He said he thought it through and decided that even though he'd be a great dad, having kids wasn't the only way to fulfill that part of his life. He said he'd be an idiot to let go of our relationship on the off chance he might be happy with someone else. He said I'm the love of his life, and even though he's worried he'll regret not having kids, he'd regret losing me even more. We laughed, we cried. I felt like I dodged a million bullets. After it all settled down and I thought about it more, I told him he was still allowed to change his mind someday. While I was still in limbo, I realized that every minute I've had with him has been the best of my life. Even if he decides in 10 years from now that he does want a kid, I wouldn't feel like I've wasted my life with him. I told him no matter what, I'd be happy I got to be with him as long as I did. He said he was glad I'm giving him the option, but now that he knows it's a choice he can make himself, he's with me 100%. Truth be told, I don't know if we'll have to go through this again someday. I really hope not, but right now we're setting ourselves up for a very happy dink life. We got the house, and I don't think we'll ever look back. But the point is, I'm no longer scared of our future or that conversation. Whatever happens, I know where I stand, and I know I'll be happy. I'm so grateful for this community and all of your support and the stories and struggles you've shared. You've not only given me the ability to make a choice, but you've also helped me navigate through this incredibly difficult time with full confidence. So if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you and cheers to being child-free. Some folks are swooning for hubby, but I want to celebrate OP. She was compassionate, realistic, honest, and firm in her convictions. She didn't argue or try to pressure him. She gave him time and space to do the internal work he needed to do. Y'all are exceptional. Congrats. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. It was so hard to be rational in the middle of it. When he brought it up, I was driving, so I had to concentrate on the road, and that's probably why I didn't freak out, lol. But I was still a mess the rest of the day once I had time to think about the reality. My friend's husband was in a similar way. He actually already had a kid though, but the kid's mom had majority custody, so he just had glimpses of being a dad, like an uncle, and thought, this is something I want more of. While my friend was still a not yet, maybe not at all fence sitter. That was until the kid's mom went on vacation. After that full week, sounds like forever, right? Of having his own child with him at home, he said, never mind, I like this only every other Saturday situation I've got now. Sounds right. It's so easy to romanticize parenthood, but then when you actually have to deal with kids 24/7, it hits different. I'll stick with being the fun aunt. Are you sure he doesn't have a romanticized view of fatherhood? I think you should offer to babysit and see how he really copes. Or maybe being the favorite uncle is all he needs? I hope so. He definitely does. But we so rarely have the chance to be around kids full time that it's been hard to convince him. But I think he gets that now, and he's going to be a great fun uncle. I will also say this, groups like Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Boys and Girls Club really need father figures for the kids involved. There are so many nice lady types like me, but when my husband shows up, the kids absolutely light up. All kids need positive male role models in their lives. Tell your husband to go get involved today, like don't wait. He can fill a big void for them and also see how absolutely heartrending a situation so many kids have. It really puts perspective on bringing even more kids in the world when there are so many to love through volunteering time, caring, and mentorship. That is such a lovely story. I am so glad your husband chose you over some hypothetical children. My story is similar. My husband sprang, I want children, and I've wanted them all along, on me when we were in our late 20s. In my opinion, he was brainwashed by his mother who had serious grandbaby fever. I told him he could have me in his life, or we could get divorced and he could try to attract a wonder breed and have children with her. It took us a few years and some therapy, but he chose me. We're now happy dinks with a condo downtown and 2 cats. I wish you both all the best with the new house. Note, in my experience, closings never go smoothly. And all the happiness in your confirmed dink life. Whoa. Don't leave. Subscribe. Be a for lifer.